Hello everybody, welcome back to Road to Master. I hope you're all having an amazing day. We're starting off, we have the black pieces against a 1779 from Colombia. So we have a d4 here. And I fancy playing a King's Indian today. We've not played a good King's Indian in a while, so why not go for it? And they are going for it. They've played a c4, so we will continue our usual King's Indian sort of setup here. Now, if you aren't familiar with the King's Indian, we've got a 4 pawns attack. Very cool, very cool. If you aren't familiar with the King's Indian, we'll ignore f4 for now. So you've got this fianchetto bishop, you've got the knight on f6, you do d6, and you usually just castle. Your plan is to play e5, followed by an f5 as soon as you possibly can, and you just launch all out on the king side. White's plan is to do exactly the opposite and launch on the queen side, and whoever gets there first wins, basically. So it's a super fun opening, and I'd highly recommend having a look at it. It's very complicated to play, simply because there are so many ways white can switch things up that completely change the plan of the game, and you have to be aware of every single one of those. So it's very awkward to play. But it's fun, and if you like that, you like that, and I like it. So anyway, 4 pawns attack is a really interesting variation of the King's Indian with f4, and you see they've got a connect 4 in the center here, and it's dubious. It is dubious because they have opened their king side, which is what we wanted anyway. The problem is they also have very, very quick attacks coming. So there are 2 general moves here. E4, C5. C5 is the computer line. I don't think we castle first. I think we castle afterwards. Yes, we play C5 straight away. I'm pretty sure. And they have 2 options. They can take, at which point they have sort of split up their center with the weakened king, which isn't ideal. So usually they're not going to take. Usually they're going to push, at which point you need to play e6. And you're just trying to undermine their pawn structure, basically, which is the way to play it. And then you need to see then push d6, d5 there. So we're going to play e6 pretty much straight away. And you're undermining that. You're trying to get back control of the e file. Now, it's tempting to think all the play happens on the d file, but the e file is equally as important in the 4 pawns attack. So they have gone ahead and taken the pawn. And I'm pretty sure we take back with the bishop. We could potentially castle here. I think is potentially an option. It's extremely dubious though. If we take with the bishop, they have an f5. But then again, they are underdeveloped. So let's go ahead and take with the bishop. We're looking at getting a knight onto c6. We're looking at castling and getting the rook onto e8, making pressure along their king side. And yeah, we just try to play it as active as possible. I think probably castles here is the way to go. Get the rook on e8, and try do stuff. I wonder if there is actually like takes as a move. Seems pretty interesting. Feels like there could potentially be. Another thing is sort of important to know is you want to try stop them from castling. If you can stop them from castling, it is almost completely winning. Because once they get their rook on this f file, these pawn pushes come extremely quick. So I'm wondering if there's anything we can do straight away to sort of discourage them castling. And the first thing I'm thinking of is a knight g4. I'm not sure. I think the plan is to probably take this knight, or even put the bishop on d4 if possible. This knight is a bit annoying. I wonder if d5 is a move. It doesn't really look like a move. With the idea of takes this pawn here. So oh, we can't do that because the knight's just moved. Yeah. What else can we attack? What can we attack? We could go queen a5, immediately hitting this pawn, but then like something like bishop d3, and then they're castling next move as well, which isn't ideal. So I think we need to be a bit more active than that. I very much would like bishop takes, actually, after bishop takes, knight takes. And try to play for some bishop d4. Bishop takes, knight takes, e7, but then you've got queen to e2, so it doesn't particularly work. Let's castle. Let's castle. I think getting the rook onto e8 is probably the priority right now. Rather than moving pieces we're already moved. We just can't afford to be caught off underdeveloped, basically, I think is the idea. This is a backwards pawn, but I don't think it's as weak as it potentially looks. So yeah, they are going to castle. So is there anything we can do here to immediately sort of prevent castling? I don't think so, unfortunately. Is there any other ideas? Is d5 an idea with pawn takes? Maybe even a bishop takes. Doesn't look particularly appetizing. Maybe even just a knight c6, bishop g4. Look to get the knight here. But that's not really doing anything either. I think we need to get this knight out somehow. So probably knight c6. And if they push f5, I probably drop my bishop back. And then they've made a few holes, basically. And I think that's what we have to play. If they take, we just take with the rook. And then I'm pretty happy. But you can see how this is very scary, and you can see how their attack can come very quickly, especially when they've castled, and the rook joins in on the attack as well. It gets quite frightening. But you know, you just gotta trust yourself, trust in your defensive capabilities, and defend. Basically, that's all I can say. Just defend. Always do your basic thought process, like what have they moved, what are they attacking, what are they threatening, you know, all that good stuff. And try play active as well, because it's easy when you are defending to stay in a defensive mindset rather than also looking for your own opportunities to counterattack and make your pieces better as well. So we just have to be conscious that we need to do that at the same time, which is why I think defending is quite hard, because it's hard once you are in a defensive position to get out of one. So yeah, anyway, I think here bishop g4 is the way to go. Pinning the knight. h3, we just take, potentially queen takes. Get the knight in the hole. And then we can get something on e8 as well. Although the knight in the hall's not particularly doing anything, though. It looks nice, but it's not really doing anything. I would much rather get a bishop in the hole. So is there any way we can get a bishop in the hole? The thing is, not with this knight here. I wonder if we play there and then f4. Actually, is that something? This takes. There. Knight takes. Yeah, that's interesting. Worst case, we go back. In fact, no, we go back. We aren't doing too hot. That's an interesting idea, though. I like it. If we can move this knight somewhere, we can push f4. So maybe knight h5 then is the way to go. I doubt they would be pushing any g-pawn at the minute. And if they push h3 then they're making a hole on g3. Let's go knight h5 then. Let's go knight h5. It's the knight up to one of these two squares is a common theme in the King's Indian. Usually it goes back to d7. I found d7's quite a good square for it. e8's not bad either. So it's usually these sort of four. And the whole idea is you're looking to free up the bishop and you're looking to play f5. Whether that works in this situation, and this is the problem I do have with the King's Indian, is that there are so many things that just change the entire dynamic of the opening. And it's all things white can decide to do. So black's always reacting to what white does, which is fine if you know the lines, because the lines are often quite nice for black. But if you don't know the actual lines, then you've got immediate problems, because white only needs to know one thing, and they can play that one thing every single time they play the King's Indian. But as black, you need to know everything. So it's incredibly theory heavy. But the point is you can get really, really nice results with it. And knight g5 doesn't look particularly nice at all. Knight g5. Well, have we not immediately just got a check with like a knight g7? We might as well throw in the check, right? There's nothing that can block it, really. Get the knight to g7, play f4. We could even play f4 straight away. Oh no, because then the bishop hangs. But that's fine. I think we throw in the check. We've got to. We can't not. That was the desired outcome. Like, we're not going to say no to it. That was what we wanted the whole time. That was the whole point of knight to h5. So we might as well go for it. And we are running a bit low on time here. And king h1, I'm feeling there is immediate sort of ideas around there. Knight there. Which is good. So can we make that happen with, say, an h6? Would be exceptionally nice. h6. You've got to consider knight takes. Then we've got this intermezzo, queen h4. Then pawn takes. You block up this hole on the center. So I think h6 is probably the way to go here. We've got to be a bit worried about knight back. Knight back to f3 is an idea, actually. Maybe we jump the gun a bit. Maybe we just drop back to g7 at that point. Our king is looking a bit weak, though. It's looking a bit weak. Especially with this bishop here. Maybe that was a bit of an oversight. Maybe. No, because we can pin the knight, at least, to the queen. And they still have this hole then if they try to kick us out. So I think we might be okay here. I'm looking at potential knight b4, hit this bishop. And yeah, I think we've got a decent position out of this. We're definitely on the attack. We have the initiative. We just need to keep it. Which is the hard bit about having the initiative, I will say. But, you know, we keep doing what we're doing, and we'll try and make the most of it. There is potential for some sort of smothered mate. It's a while away, I will admit, but the idea is there. The idea is there. I'm not going to say no to it if it shows itself. What are they considering? So many options. Knight back, queen up, queen f6, f3, sorry. Pawn takes, probably. We'll see what they do. I think they can just do too many things here. And it's not particularly worth calculating them all out. H6, I think, was the right idea. I didn't want to play any retreating moves, really. We've committed to the center, and we've committed to getting our pieces out. So I don't really want to mess around any more than I have to, you know. F5 is a very interesting idea, actually. I think we take here. Go up. And then we've got a very nice open file for the rook. Yeah, we could potentially lose a pawn. But, you know, we're no strangers to losing a pawn. We are no strangers to losing a pawn. They are taking their time with this one, so I'm not sure if they saw H6. Or maybe they're just calculating out the variations a lot. But, you know, the more time they use, the better it is for us. So I'm not complaining at all. I think knight takes bishop is the best, really. I think they have to forget about my mating threats because they're not particularly happening. I will say then they aren't particularly happening. But I think once they take this, they get a lot of very quick counterplay. Even f5 straight away I think is still a good move. Yeah. Oh, they've gone for it. They've gone for it. Knight takes e6. Okay. Now, what are we throwing in here? Do we bother throwing in the intermezzo? Ooh. So the move is queen h4. Pawn takes, knight takes. King goes up. Then what? Then what? We take the rook. Queen takes, check. King back. Yeah. If we take the rook, if we take the knight, the other option is queen f3, which I think is also quite nice. At which point we just take their knight. Ooh. It's probably smarter to just take the knight. F5 though is extremely quick, but F5 we have queen h4 still. Sure, let's take the knight. I don't think any other move is good enough. We still have queen h4. That's not going anywhere unless they play a g3. And I think a g3 is slowing down their attack a bit. Yeah, so f5 is the idea. At which point we could decline with like an e5, but then bishop takes is a bit sketchy. You could even do pawn takes first. Queen h4 I think is a good move here. And then that doesn't work because we have this open file now. If we want it. So let's throw in a queen h4 and see where that gets us. Bishop back, we have e5 then. And that's just winning. I think. I think is the key word. We will see. We will see. It's a tempting move to play. Because the rook's covering it as well. In fact, no, you could just do knight takes anyway, even if there wasn't e3, e5. Now as well we have knight to e5 if the queen decides to come in. Which is quite a cool move because we're hitting their bishop as well. So maybe f5 wasn't a great idea because we have the knight coming in. And this could potentially force off a queen trade, which would be nice for us. And then maybe we get the bishop as well, hitting lots and lots of things, which could be quite good. So potentially we have a nice position here. I think leaving queen h4 was definitely the right thing to do. It was the boring choice, I'll admit. I'll be the first to admit it was the boring choice, but sometimes you've got to play the boring choice, you know. You've got to look after your king. After all, if you get mated, you lose. So, you know, yeah, and the good thing is queen h4 was still on afterwards, so there was no immediate rush to play it. They would have had to spend a move to slow it down. And if they're playing the 4 pawns attack, they're not wanting to slow down. That's the whole thing. They want to have a quick attack before you can reconciliate your defenses, you know. So there we go. And that brings us to this position, and they have a big decision to make here on how they're defending this mating threat. A very big decision indeed. I think g3 could potentially be the line, to be honest. We have no light square bishop anymore, which is annoying. G3, knight takes. King G2, only move. Knight takes rook. Queen takes, stopping mate. Then we have check. Again, only move to go back. And then we can play like a throwing a knight e5 or something. Hit the bishop. Although that gives the bishop a tempo to go to e2 and hit the queen. So I think we're doing not particularly bad. We do have to actually worry about knight b5. That's a cheeky little threat, is that? It's not massively harming me, but it is something definitely to be aware of. And to be honest, I hate to say it, but there's a chance they might not see this mate. It's not the easiest thing in the world to spot. Especially if they are focused on this attack. It's not exactly the easiest thing to spot. They go rook to f3. That is a very cool move, actually. I like it. Rook f3. Do we have knight e5? The idea is to go rook h3. Then I'm wondering if knight g4 is an idea. With check, king there. With check, win the knight. It's something. It's something. It's something. Oh, big decisions. Big decisions. Hate them. Absolutely hate big decisions. Is bishop e5 a move? And after rook out, bishop out. After rook there, knight check. King over. Then check. Bishop block, rook takes. So I think it could actually potentially be knight there. Oh, and we have... Oh, knight takes d3. With queen takes... Oh. Queen takes there, mate. The problem is... Knight takes, rook takes. Is super annoying. Super annoying. There, knight takes, and then we have the same idea, except we get an extra piece out of it as well, which is super nice. So we would just be up a piece. Okay, I like it. We're running low on time. Rook takes, then what? Come on, give me some inspiration. Could work. Probably just open up, right? Yeah, we'll go for this. It looks super interesting. Super interesting. Come on, rook h3. Don't think, please, don't think. Yeah, they've gone for it. Just double check this works. That takes. Yeah, we'll go for it. Knight takes d3. Whew! Hopefully this works. If it doesn't, fair enough. But it's a very cool move to play. I will say it's a very, very cool move. Very cool move indeed. And if it goes to plan, I think we're up a piece. If rook takes, we do have to worry about our queen a bit, but then we can do like a pawn. Or we could just move our queen back if we absolutely have to and threaten to take the knight with taking the pawn as well. And yeah, this is wild. this is wild. And this is the 4 pawns attack. It's just crazy from both sides. Absolutely crazy stuff. And I'm sure we've made tons of mistakes. But generally, when the game is more crazy, you make more mistakes. That's why it's crazy. You know, if it was a perfect game, then it would be the most boring game in the world. So, you know, this stuff only happens when you make mistakes. So they've done the right thing indeed. Now we have to be smart about it. We have to be smart. We have to play a bit boring. Let's take the pawn. Let's take the pawn. They could potentially sack the... Actually, no, they can't, because we still have back rank ideas. We can go Queen F2 with the ideas of pawn takes. And then we have pawns, you know. We have a lot of pawns, actually. A very large amount of pawns. I think sacking the exchange could be really interesting, actually. I think Rook H3 is the obvious move. And we just continue the best we can in 50 seconds, you know. Oh gosh, why do I get myself into these situations? It's not pleasant. It's not pleasant. Knight F4 is interesting as well. But bishop takes, queen takes, just gets it down a bit, you know. Gets into more boring, and we want to win because we're so low on time, you know. We really want to get a result out of this. If we could hit the rook again, I would love to, but I don't think there is a possible way to get it off this third. And this is the power of the bishop, you know, this power of the bishop. It was doing nothing, and we insisted that it did something, so it did something, you know. Yeah, so they go back. At which point... I think even Queen F2 could be the move. With pawn takes. Threatening back rank. The bishop's actually struggling to go anywhere, but takes, I guess. Yeah. That's fine. We'll move up. We'll move up. Rook takes is actually super interesting as well now. God, this is a wild, wild, wild game. Rook F3 could work. Gosh. And then we have the open file. We have the open file. Never underestimate an open file. Never underestimate an open file at all. They go for that. Allowing me to get my rook in the game. Was that a case of no other move? I'm not quite sure. Not quite sure. I think rook E8 for yeah, rook E8, bishop takes, pawn takes, rook E2. Oh, you go there. Oh, I think taking B was... It's greedy. It's greedy for sure. It's greedy for sure. Wow. This is wild. This is so wild. And I don't even have time to go through it properly because I would absolutely adore going through this. It's just right up my alley. You know, the pieces are doing everything, and it's just who can checkmate first. Literally, who can checkmate first. Because it's not going out in a puff of smoke, is this? This is going to be a bang. And they go for that one as well. Wow. Oh, there's got to be somewhere here, right? Yeah. Yes. Yes, I like it. I like it. Threatening the immediate there. Rook takes g2. And there's no check. They've got no checks. My bishop's an absolute beast. Have we got this? Have we got this? I don't even know. I don't know. To be honest, I've got no clue. They go there. Good move. We throw in... Oh, I can't even throw in anything. Gosh. Wow. This isn't nice. This isn't nice. I didn't want to have to trade queens. Oh, we just lose the queen. No, it's over. Ah, the time got to me. No. Maybe it's a confidence thing. They're not going to go for it. The time pressure finally caught up with me. Never mind. Never mind. What a game, though. What a game. Yeah, these two pieces controlling the F and E were just too good. Really like that. I wonder what else I should have done. Probably E2. Maybe even just take the pawn. Take the pawn, you can't let the rook get in, surely. They've not taken... Oh. Wow. Okay. Okay, I'm not complaining. We're still on. We're still on. It's not over till it's over. It's not over till it's over. Oh, wow. I think they're under such time pressure as well. They're just not seeing stuff. Okay, well, I'll take the pawn to get out of stuff. I'll take the pawn. They still have back rank mates. They've got to be careful of. You know, you can't take this. You can't take this. My bishop and knight are both covering this square as well. It's not as easy as it looks. We got let off super lucky there. Bishop takes d2. Whew, wow. Gosh, they're going to be kicking themselves when they see that. You know, I was playing a game last night, by the way. My game last night, I ended up winning. The team, not so much. But I played a crazy game again. Just like this. Let's threaten the knight. They've got no checks. Yeah, crazy game, just like this. My opponent sacked his queen. Turns out I could take it, which I realised afterwards. Then hung his queen the next move as well. But it still wasn't over. Oh, wow, that's a good move. I like that a lot. Great move. We'll take the knight. They've got no mate, and we are actually threatening to take their rook now. So I think we could be good. Yeah, we take the rook. And we are just up a rook here. We've got to be careful. As always, we've got to be careful. But I think the back rank threats make it worthwhile. And somehow we've come back from this. This is wild. Absolutely wild. But yeah, it was in my game yesterday, I ended up having to sack my queen for a rook anyway. So I was just up the exchange. And we played all the way down to like 15 minutes each on the clock. Maybe even 7 minutes each on the clock. Good move as well. Force the rooks off. And just win. Up a rook. Yeah, super wild game. Super wild. Really enjoyed it. And there was a pub quiz going on in the next room, and they had a microphone linked up, but the microphone was connected to the speaker in our room. This is unfortunately just mate. The speaker was connected to the mic was connected to the speaker in our room, so we could hear every word of the pub quiz for like 10 minutes before the staff managed to switch it off. But it was so funny. You never see stuff like that in a chess match. Anyway, what a game. We somehow managed to win that. I have no clue. Let's have a look at the review. It's going to be an absolute roller coaster. I don't think it could even be classed as a roller coaster. It's too steep for a roller coaster. It's more like a mountain range or something. In fact, it's not as bad as it looks. I mean, we blundered the queen there. We obviously blundered the queen there. But it's quite even actually. They had the advantage out the opening, which is quite common in the four pawns. There are a lot of mistakes, but I think you've got to make sure that you're getting the counterplay necessary to survive it, and once you survive it, you've got to be able to play it. Anyway, four pawns attack, c5, again takes as an option. They played the main line, which is this. At this point, you castle instead of playing c3, c6, which was our problem. A bit, we had to spend a move castling, which was unfortunate. And then this goes back to normal sort of theory. We have another book move. After a few mistakes, we have another book move. Anyway, so here it wanted g4. Again, rather than castles, they wanted f5. And that's the whole idea. You want these quick pawn breaks to catch black off guard and get them when they're not ready. But they didn't. They spent a move. And here it wanted bishop g4. I'm guessing that's just to get the knight out and all that good stuff. And you just take, which you would have to, otherwise you're having to go back and you've wasted a move. Which is why I didn't want to do it. I wanted to keep the bishops on the board. So I decided not to go for that. And I went for this knight h5 instead. Which isn't exactly good. And then f5 is an idea. And that was, I think that's going to be the most common mistake from our opponents, is that they didn't play f5 until super late. We played this check, which apparently wasn't even the best move. It wanted bishop to h6, which is wild. I'm guessing to avoid... Wait, that doesn't even make sense. Because the bishop's covering the knight through the pawn. It's not even saying a follow-up. It's just saying it's the best. Okay, computer, I'll take your word for it. And then h6 wasn't as obvious a move as I thought. Bishop to f6 apparently makes zero sense to me. Why you've moved your bishop there and you move it back. I will never understand chess. I will never understand chess. Knight takes, yeah. And then we were right taking the knight back. This is 1.6 here for white. And it's still 1.6. And then they made this mistake of f4, which gives us the hole on e5. And still allows queen h4. Their best move was queen g4, and that's absolutely terrifying. Wow. I mean, just the pressure you have on the king as well is mind-blowing. I don't know how I would defend this if I could defend this. To be honest, that's wild. But we managed to get this queen h4 off. Oh, queen e1 is the best defensive move, apparently. I really like that. So you're covering any things here. You're protecting the bishop if it wants to go to e6 and fight this bishop. And you're stopping the knight going to g3, as well as offering a trade-up of queens, which is really cool. Multitasking. Talk about multitasking. Anyway, we decided to kick the knight. And instead it wanted us to take this, which is weird, because this bishop is our strongest piece by a mile. So I'm not sure why it would want us to trade off. And it gets their rook in the game as well, which is wild. Rook h3, then the brilliancy knight takes d3. Wow, I was so proud of this one. So proud of this one. And we all know the rules. We can walk it through here. Takes, knight f2 check, king there. You take the queen. King's in check now, so it has to move. And then you take the knight. Then you take the pawn as well. So you're up, what's that, 4 points of material. You're up a piece and a pawn. Easy game, right? But they did exactly the right thing here. And props to them for finding that, because it's not a move you want to make. You want to keep this rook here. So props to them for finding that. And then knight back to f6 was the move, which doesn't make sense to me at all. Wow. I'm guessing you want the knight going there for the same idea, which is crazy. But then rook there, and then your bishop and your knight and your rook's hitting that, and your queen could potentially come in as well. It looks scary. But we did E takes, which is so. This position is minus 0.9 for black. And after E takes F5, that's 0.1. So it's about even. Queen F2 is cool. Not the best. Apparently Queen G4 is better. Okay. Okay. Bishop takes, yes. And then Rook F7. I really liked Rook F7 because you're also threatening to swing this round and potentially hit the king if the Rook ever moves. Which would be nice. Again, I thought Rook F3 was quite cool. I don't know what I would really do there. Maybe just go back to H4. Queen H4. And then we took... And then I feel like this is when we start to get some good stuff going. Obviously, we hang the queen here. So they give us a free pawn. And we were completely right to take that, which is good. Because that's something I'm working on at the minute. Is in the book I'm reading, How to Reassess Your Chess. Definitely check that out, by the way, if you haven't. Like one of the best books you'll ever read about chess. There's the psychological chapter, which is really interesting. You don't get many things talking about the psychology of chess, which is really cool. And he mentions about greed. And actually, sometimes it's okay to be greedy. You know, a lot of people see a free pawn or something, or see free material, and they get scared because they think it's a trap. Especially if it's a grandmaster or something, they get scared. Obviously, they plan this, you know, and they're going to get compensation or whatever if they take it. But sometimes it's free material's just free material, and sometimes it's a mistake from your opponent. Sometimes they might intend to sack it, but it doesn't work out, and you just have to be able and willing to call the bluff when you see it. They took our pawn. Yeah, I like Rook B1. It hangs this, but then that's a bit greedy, I think. That's a bit greedy. The Rook activation is just a bit too much, in my opinion. Yeah, they took this pawn. And this knight looks cool, but really it's not doing anything. You know, it's not hitting... It's hitting F5, sure, but the Rook moves to a better spot with tempo. And it wanted Rook F6 just to hit the knight again even, but I really like it on F2. Apparently you can take the pawn there, which, wow, talk about psychology and not being able to take stuff because of your fear. You know, you can just take that pawn and you just have a pawn. You just have a pawn because I guess you're still hitting G2. We blundered the queen, obviously. Queen takes, Rook takes, and it's still winning, but then they didn't take it with the bishop, so I'm guessing this is just a blind spot. Everyone's done that, trust me. It's nothing to be ashamed of, is a blind spot. You're focusing so hard, especially when you've got 41 seconds left on your clock. Like, it's completely forgivable as that at any level, really. Well, maybe not Grandmaster, but you know, any normal person level. And we quickly move that away by taking the pawn. And again, this Rook looks nice. It's not doing anything, you know. If anything, it's weak because this knight can be hit. Where are we? And like we did, obviously the computer's saying Rook E8 here. I'm guessing that's just open file and hit the pawn. But we just hit the knight and take the free Rook. You know, we're not going to say no to the free Rook. Obviously they just hung the knight here. I'm guessing they thought they had mating threats, but forgot that the knight was protecting the Rook. So they take my knight and yeah, get the Rook, and it's pretty simple here. They have to trade off here, and I just win a Rook up. They didn't, and it's just mate. It's just mate. Anyway, what a game! Wow. I need a minute after that. That was crazy. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed that because I definitely did. That's my type of game. Is that I absolutely adore these games. Just so chaotic, so chaotic. I would love to spend hours thinking about it, really, like in a classical game. I would really love to play that. It would be so stressful, but that's why I play the crazy stuff. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Please like if you liked. Please subscribe if you really liked. And I'll catch you guys all tomorrow. Bye-bye.